Hello everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Marama Forbes, and you are tapped into Living in Between. And today we are going to be talking about domestic house helps and talking about some of the experiences I've had having domestic house helps, or as some people will call them. Some people may just call them house help. Some people might just call them as, family members that they have helping around the house and so on. But the dictionary word is domestic house help or so on. Or some people might call them house girls and so on. So we are going to be talking about that today. Just going to give a few minutes for people to come on so we can start this live. So yes, if you are here right now, please do go in the comment section and let me know that you are here. Hello to the person that has joined us. Just going to put a comment here just to say this is a talk along, so you can go ahead and write and communicate with me as we're going live. Just give me a second. Let me just write here. Leave your comments here. Last week was the first time that I was live, and I was live with Joe, and me and Joe spoke about, dating in West Africa in comparison to you dating in, abroad. And that was a really great live, and it kind of helped me to boost my confidence to start doing my own live. So today is my first time going live, and I'm just going to be talking about domestic house helps experiences. Hello, Ian. Thank you for joining. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for joining. And we're just going to be talking about that. This is going to be interactive. So at any given time, you can go ahead and ask me questions. You can, and so on. This is all about me and you conversating and just really talking about the whole thing. Anyway, let's start it. First of all, for some of you who may not know what a domestic house help is, a domestic house help is somebody that you hire who helps you around your household. So they can help you take care of your children, they can help you with cleaning around the house, or you can have them as guards in the house and so on. Domestic house helps can be like, they vary in terms of the tasks that they do. So traditionally in African culture, this has been going on for thousands of years, that culturally many people tend to have domestic house helps around. So this is something where, if you are traveling from abroad and you come to Africa, it's a norm for you to see domestic house helps around. And I know for some people in the Western world, when they think of a domestic house help, they kind of think like you have to be like super duper rich in order to afford it. However, in most African cultures, this is the norm. So being that I traveled to Africa, I also had to hire house help. I also had to have somebody around the house to help out. So I'm going to start off first by giving you guys a breakdown of my experience that I've had having a house help. And then I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some tips to make sure that you don't end up making some of the mistakes that I've made. And so on. I'm going to give you guys two examples that I've had having house helps. I'm going to start first with my first experience that I had having house helps, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about my recent experience I had, which was last year when my house help basically emptied out my house. Anyway, let's get started. For everyone that's joined us, hello. And I'm going to start off by telling the story. So this was 2010. This was the first time ever I visited Sierra Leone. This is the first time ever I was in the continent after leaving for so many years. And I wasn't kind of aware that we were going to have house helps and so on. I wasn't really, I wasn't, because I was quite young, I wasn't quite sure what the culture is of having a house help. So I wasn't quite sure what to expect. And I came in with quite a naive mentality, which was, it is what it is. So I remember landing in Sierra Leone. We stayed, I think, in a guest house or something like that, my family and I. And may I just say, while you're watching this, please do get yourself a snack. I've got myself some Tombi drink here, so we can all watch, relax, and enjoy. So yeah, I remember just entering Sierra Leone. Hello for those who are joining, and walking into our guest house that we stayed, my family and I. And the first thing I did, because Sierra Leone is super, super duper hot. And one of the advice that they give you is the first time you get to Africa is to open up your suitcase and air it out. Because if you don't air it out, then your clothes kind of steam up and so on. So my mom was like, everybody go ahead and open up your suitcases. at this time, my house help, I believe, wasn't in the living room. I think my house help was downstairs, and I hadn't even seen her or was even aware there was a house help. Because so currently at this moment, it was me, my mom, my sister, and other family members that were in the house. So I went ahead and I opened up my suitcase. I opened all of my suitcases, my handbag, everything, and I just left it open in the living room. And I didn't think anything of it. You know what I mean? And I think like 10 minutes later, that's when the house helps came. So it was a lady. I'm going to call her Ramatu for now. And she had a son, and I'll call the son Ibrahim. This is just names I'm picking, guys. So Ramatu comes and she's like, hello, guys. My name is Ramatu. I'm going to be the house help here. I'm going to be cleaning the house, cooking food, anything you need, you let me know. So I was thinking, oh, wow. Okay. So I turned to my mom and she was just like, yeah, this is what she'll be doing. You can trust her. Don't worry. She doesn't steal or anything like that. So for me, I was like, in my head, I didn't even think like, oh, your stuff are open. Maybe you need to, pick things up and see what's going on. I just went ahead and I just, I started conversing with her. And I think at one point, my sister, my mom, and myself, we went into our room and we left all of our stuff in the living room, and the house help was there with her son. And I was the first one that came back to the living room. And when I came to the living room, I realized there was quite a few stuff missing from my suitcase. And I was thinking to myself, like, because I was questioning myself. I was thinking, did I take something? I was like, I didn't take anything. I just opened the bag and left it open. You know what I'm trying to say? And I looked, and most of the stuff in my suitcase had gone. So things like my perfume, my lingerie. I was like, who takes lingerie? Was gone. Some of my creams were gone. And I think even my hair straightener had gone missing. So I'm looking through my suitcase and I'm thinking, where's all this thing gone? And I'm like, and I literally shout my mom, like, Mom, my stuff in my suitcase is gone. And then the lady runs upstairs and she's just like, oh, what happened? She's like, what's going on? And I'm like, stuff has gone missing in my suitcase. And she straight away just goes, oh, it wasn't me. I didn't take anything from your suitcase. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why why all of a sudden, why do you sound, so like as if I assume it's you? And then my mom comes out and everybody comes out. And then my sister looks at her suitcase and something's also missing as well. So we're all there thinking, and you know what was so interesting about this situation? We didn't even think or even imagine it would have been a house help. And then, I think someone like a neighbor must have come and said, oh, yes, you left your door open. Maybe somebody came upstairs when you guys were in the room and the house help was downstairs. And maybe that's how things got missing. So we, at that moment, because we just knew her, we didn't want to accuse her of anything. We kind of just let it go. We kept, we just kind of just left it. But me, I was really upset because I lost a lot of stuff and I wasn't quite ready to let it go, really. So I was like on my little investigation mode. So I was kind of like just watching my back all the time, being very careful with my stuff. So that situation happened. Now, I was staying with my grandmother and my grandparents came with us, and my grandfather is blind. So he tends to be in the room quite a lot. So while he's in the room now, he always hears somebody coming into the room, and he will shout and say, who is it? But the person wouldn't say anything. And my grandfather kept on complaining, saying, oh my gosh, somebody keeps coming in my room. And then because he's blind, if he wants to count his money, he gets somebody else to do it. And he will like call my sister or myself and say, can you please count this money? We'll count the money now. And he'll be like, how much is there? And I'll be like, well, this is how much is there. And he'll be like, oh, some money's missing from there. And I'm like, how is that possible? Who could potentially, take money from you? And again, at this point, we're not trying to accuse the house helps of doing anything. We're not trying to start any drama, because this was like the first time as a family that we've come back together to Africa. So we weren't trying to like start anything. So I just said to my granddad, I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. Hi, Jorge Smart. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you've just written a comment. I'm going to read your comments soon. Let me just get to the story so I don't forget where I am. But yeah, so I said to my grandfather, I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're all going to pretend like we're leaving the house and we're going to see who is stealing. So I remember, so we planned it. So all of us went out as we normally do. And I think I stayed behind, but the way I stayed, I think I was like, I hid somewhere or something like that. I don't even know what happened, something like that. And I was with another person. So we made it look like we'd left the house. But I was like, because my grandfather had like this balcony that he had. So where his room was, there's a balcony. So you can easily sneak, you can easily open the window and go in the balcony and go into his room. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So we planned it and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and hide somewhere in the balcony where kind of like nobody sees me. And when where nobody can kind of see me. So I think I must have hid something like that. And you know, my granddad was in his room pretending like he's sleeping. So now we just hear and then all of a sudden I just hear somebody coming up the balcony, like sneaking in, coming to the balcony, walking really slowly. I couldn't quite see who it was because I'm kind of hidden somewhere where I can't just peep. If I peep, they'll kind of see that I'm there. So the person opens my granddad's window now, goes into his bedroom, and basically goes to where the drawer where my grandfather's money is and basically grabs the money. Then my granddad starts screaming, thief, 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 thief. There's a thief in that. There's a thief here. There's a thief here. And then I literally run. Hi, Mr. S. Thank you for joining. And hi, Miss Summer. Thank you so much for joining. So I go ahead and I basically run into the room, and guess who I see that has opened the door. Now this person has now opened the door to escape from my grandfather's bedroom door. And guess who it was, guys? I couldn't even believe who it was. Like, I couldn't even believe it was our house help, Ramatu, the name that I've given, son, her little son, who was 7 years old. He was the one that was in my grandfather's room stealing the money. He had the bag of money with him, and it was held onto the door. And as he was about to leave, I saw him. So I'm like chasing after him, and then I think we had a guard or somebody chasing after him. And then the mom comes to the living room, holds onto his hand. They start running out of the house. Now everybody's running after them. And I don't even know how they were able to escape, but guys, they escaped. They escaped. Until this day, I don't even understand how they actually escaped. But I kind of get it, because in Africa, depending where you live, there's so many like roads you can take or places you can go that people cannot see you. And they ran away, and they ran away, and so on. And I think as they were running, I don't know if there was a car there or there was something there. I can't quite remember what it was, but they ran away with the money. I think my grandfather had about £500 or something like that. That he a bag of money like that, and he stole all of that and ran away with that. And that was the first experience ever that I had, having a bad experience with a house help. And I think this experience was really shocking to all of us, because we trusted this person. I'm trying to say we tried our hardest not to accuse them of stealing. And then later on, we found out, because they found her eventually. I think they took her to the police and so on. And she confessed, and she said she was the one that stole all of the stuff from my suitcase and my sister's suitcase. And also she was the one that taught her son how to steal. So she would tell her son where to go in the house, what to steal. And then she even confessed of things that we had no idea had been stolen from the house. You know what I'm trying to say? And it was a really heartbreaking situation, because I think for anybody, what you know, I think the hardest part, and then the most heartbreaking part of the situation was how she taught her son how to steal, and he was only 7 years old, and we were paying her good money. She was getting free food in the house every single day. When we had breakfast, she'll eat breakfast for us. We'll have dinner. She'll have dinner with us. We're paying her really good money. We were even paying for her child's school fees. We were giving her money in terms of buying books for her child. So it wasn't even like she was being underpaid. We're actually paying her probably 3 or 4 times more than the average house help gets paid in Sierra Leone. But still, with everything that we gave her, it wasn't enough. And every time she'll ask us for money, we'll give her money. And we even trusted her to the point where I wasn't quite sure how to exchange money. So I'd always give her money to exchange. So in a part of her confession, one of the things that she did say was how when we'll give her money to change, she'll always take half of the money. And that we didn't realize because we didn't understand how the money worked. And we were just a little bit younger then. And above it all, I think for us, like we never got the money back. All the stuff that she stole, we never got it back. And for most times when you have house helps who steal from your house, the chances of you getting back your money, getting back your resources that they stole is very slim, because half of the time, the moment they steal it, the moment they either sell it off or send it to whoever it is they may send it to. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And that was really a really awful experience, because he stole from my grandfather who cannot see. So he's at a situation where he can't even protect himself. And also you use a child to steal, which is just wrong. Like nobody should do that. So in terms of learning points, advice I'll give to people in terms of this, my first experience that I had when it comes to having house helps is, number one, is protect your goods. As much as you're gonna have house helps around and all these things, and have a lock in your rooms. All your goods, make sure is kept in a house, or kept in a room where there's a lock. Don't leave any one of your important goods out in the public area, like the living room or anything like that, where it could potentially get stolen. Because that's one of the big mistakes that we made. We just left everything out in the living room because we just kind of just trusted it. So definitely, if you have a house help in your house, make sure all the rooms in the house have a lock, and also make sure as well that you don't leave all your goods outside. You don't leave your goods outside where it could potentially get stolen. Also, number two, if you live with your grandparents or those who are vulnerable, just make sure that you keep their goods. So, for example, my grandfather, something we would have done differently would have been that we didn't keep his money in his house, where in the room, sorry, that he was sleeping. We should have taken his money and kept it in our room, where we can kind of see what's going on and so on. So if you have a vulnerable person, I would say keep their goods, their money, anything that's important, where you can see and you can observe it and so on, because they're vulnerable, they can't fight, they can't really help themselves. You know what I'm trying to say? And also, another advice I'll also give as well is just don't trust as well. Don't necessarily 100% trust your house, because you don't know these people. What's one of the things that's not available in most African countries is the opportunity for you to do a DBR check, or background check as they will call it. So most of the time you won't even know if they've had a case of stealing, if they've had a case of repeated behavior or even violent behavior or anything like that. You're not going to necessarily know. So you really have to use your initiative. You really have to be extra vigilant, sorry. And also at the same time is, I'm not saying there's no house help out there that you can't trust, because there's some really good house help out there that you can trust. But speaking on that first experience I had, I would say is don't give 100% trust, always watch your back. And then based on that experience as well, something I'd also say as well is ask around about the people that you've hired. I don't think we necessarily asked around about the woman that we hired. We kind of just got her off recommendations and we just went for it. Like someone said, oh yeah, hire her, she's good. We didn't really ask the necessary questions. So I'd say if you are getting a house, I'll make sure you do go ahead and ask questions. Make sure that you ask neighbors or ask about her background, where she's been, so you can kind of have an idea of who that person is. And also, if you live in an African country where they have a domestic help company, I'll 100% say go with the company rather than do it independently, because most of the companies, you know, these people, they're vetted, they've trained them, and if something were to go wrong, you can hold them accountable. Whereas with individuals, when something goes wrong, if they run away, if they escape, it's very hard for you to find them and very hard for you to get your money back or your goods back once a situation like that has happened. So before I go to my next story, which is the worst one that happened last year in terms of having a house help, I'm going to go ahead to the comment section and kind of just read what everybody has been saying. So I'm going to start here. So Horse Smart, I'm so sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Hello, I remember you always leave fantastic comments on my page. He says, hello Marima, when I stayed at the Bamoy, I had 4 big padlocks and a camera in my room, and I let them know we had a lot of house help steal from us growing up in Sierra Leone. That is a really, really good tip, and it's something where we didn't even think of doing. But definitely having really big padlocks and closing all of your doors and having a camera is even better, because you can kind of see what they were doing when you weren't there, and if they were to steal, you have proof of that. So that's really good that you did that. And also you said the reason why your family did that is because you've had experience in the past of people stealing and so on. Hi Miss Summer, hi Miss S, hi Jennifer. Jennifer says it's awful how you'll do your best to trust them, and nearly every time they will disappoint you. Definitely, I'll agree with that. You know, it's not always. I 100% have to say here, not every single house help is going to steal from you, and I am going to talk about. After I finish talking about my awful stories, I am going to talk about the positive experiences I've had having house helps. But definitely, I know so many stories of people who've had repeated horrible experiences with house helps, and it's just such a shame, really. Okay, and Horse Smart says the next time someone steals, tell them you are bringing the Aribo devil. That's a good one. Tell them that you're going to bring the Aribo devil. So Aribo devil, for those who may not know what that is traditionally in Sierra Leone, you know, they have their cultural, you know, I won't call it like black magic kind of a thing, juju, or men who have the ability to make people confess. So that's what that means. And he says, next time someone steals, tell them you are bringing the Arubo devil. They will confess. Word for the wise, don't trust no one because they charm you as you can trust them. It's all a game. Yes, definitely. There's definitely experiences. I've heard of people who've had they've claimed they've had black magic done to them by their house helps and so on. I haven't had that experience. I haven't really seen something like that, so I can't necessarily speak on it, but I have heard people say that as well. Thank you for all those who have joined us. Again, if you have any questions as I'm going along and speaking about my experiences, please do go ahead in the comment section and interact with me. And, you know, if there's any part of the stories that you may not understand, just let me know and I will go ahead and I will repeat what I'm saying. Okay, let me just have a drink. So I'm having Tombi drink for those who are thinking what this is. So this is Tombi drink. It's just, you know, they make it in Sierra Leone, and I went to a Sierra Leone restaurant yesterday, and they happened to have made it, which I was so excited about. So I'm just having that. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you guys a story about what happened recently. So this was last year, as you guys know. Last year, I spent 6 months in Sierra Leone, and doing quite a few things while I was there. Okay, and I'm just going to tell you about what the actual title of this live is about, which is when my house got emptied out. Now, I'm gonna, be patient with me when I tell this story, because I'll be really quite honest with you. I am still healing from this story. I am still healing from this experience that we had. I think the whole of my family is still healing from this experience, because it was just shocking. We didn't expect it, because we kind of felt like this time around we have a good idea of sourcing people and knowing who is genuine and who is not. So anyway, let's get into this one. Okay, so we stayed at a house when we were in Sierra Leone, and there was myself and a few other family members that stayed there, and we had quite a few people in the house that were doing various things in the house. And we had a girl who we'll call her, what name can I call her? Aisha. I call her Aisha. We had Aisha. She was in charge of kind of just cleaning the house, making sure that the house stays spotty clean. And then we had someone who I call Abdul. He was kind of the guard of the house. So his job was to make sure that anybody that enters the house, he will come to us and say, okay, this person has come to visit. Can we let them in? And also he was in charge of the whole compound in itself. And then we had another guy. So this is a guy who he was quite new to the family. However, he was somebody who my family had been working with for quite a couple of years. As I believe it was 3 years my family had been working with him. I wasn't familiar to him. So I'm going to call him for what his name is. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, do I want to say his name? Do I want to shame him? Do I want to say his name? Okay, we're just going to call him Lucifer, because that's how I'm going to describe him, the devil. We're just going to call him Lucifer, right? So Lucifer now had been working with our family, I believe, for like 3 years. I wasn't familiar with him, but when I met him, my family was speaking amazing things about him, about how he would go out of his way for the family, and how he would do all these different things, and so on and so on. And sorry, I just had a question here from Mr. S, who says, what do house help usually get paid in Sierra Leone? Okay, let me just say that quickly. So in terms of payment in Sierra Leone, I believe there's a national wage, which is 500,000, which is £50. However, house helps, people really tend to pay them. People really tend to pay them based on how they feel. For example, some people may pay them just like what Horace said. Horace said a very decent wage for 5 days help will be $200, $2 million a month. Some only make about $500,000. Yes. So sometimes they can make things like 500,000 a month, which is like 50 pound. Sometimes they'll make like 1 million, which is like £100, 2 million. It all depends really on how much work they do. If they are live in, like they live in the house, they get food, they get everything else, then there's no negotiation that's done. But generally, house helps, everything is you talking to that person and coming to an agreement of how much you want them to be paid. You know what I'm trying to say? But I believe the national wage is 500,000, which is 50,000 a month. I would not advise anybody to give somebody that amount of money, because it's very, very small. You really can't do much with that money. So I would say definitely start for about £200 a month, $200 a month, if you can do, depending on how much work they do. Do you know what I'm trying to say? If it's somebody who is at the property, let's say 5 days a week, I'll definitely say pay them around $200 a month. I'll say that also. Okay. Thank you all for joining. I know there's more people that are joining us. I'm just about to tell the story about how our family house got emptied. So going back to the story, so I was just telling you guys about how there was a guy that was working for us who I'm calling Lucifer. That's the name I'm giving him. And literally everybody was speaking his praise. Everybody was like, this guy's amazing. And his job in the property was, he was making blocks. He was helping to build in the property to make sure, like, if anything gets broken, he would fix it. And also some building work was being done in the compound. So he was doing that for our family. So, but he'll always go the extra mile. Like if you ask him to, go to the shop, he will go. after he's finished doing his job, he'll come upstairs and he'll be like, oh, is there does anyone need help with anything? Can I help you with anything? Like, he was just so nice. Like, he was just so pleasant to work with. He had really great customer service. He was very respectful. He wasn't selfish. He always spoke to us with respect. And as time went on, I really began to trust this guy. I really began to feel like, wow, for the first time ever, we've got some really good house helps. Like, even the girl that we had, she was, I'll be honest with you, the girl, I didn't trust her. For me, I felt like if anything was going to go wrong in our house, she would be the one to do it. Do you know what I mean? Because she was a bit scared. She had her child, she had a baby. I think her child was like 2 years old. And we told her that she can't bring her child when she was coming to work because the place was like a construction site, wasn't really safe for children. But she'll always bring her child. And me and her will always have arguments because for me, it's all about a children's safety. And when she will bring her child, we'll tell her, you need to take that child back because the child cannot come to the house. So for me, I always looked at her like funny. I always thought if anyone was to steal, anyone was to do anything, would be her. But anyway, back to Lucifer. Lucifer, I just began to just really trust him. The whole family trusted him. The whole of our area trusted him. Everybody trusted him. Like, this guy, like, I would give him the key to my room and I'd be like, go and pick this up. My mom or my family members will give him the key, to their room, and they'll, you know what I mean? Like, money will be left in the living room, for example, while he's there. And we wouldn't even blink an eye to think for a second that he would do anything to us. You know what I'm trying to say? And I remember now when it was just, because there was a point where my family left and it was just me left alone in the house. It was just me by myself, me, him, the other house helps. It was just us left in the house. It was just, and it was like that for like a good 3 to 4 months. I was staying in Sierra Leone just by myself with our house helps. And during this period is when I really began to trust him. These were times where he would come, like if I was to go out, he would be waiting outside. When, as soon as the car he'll come and pick me up and make sure I get in the house safely. I would give him money to change for me, all these different things. And most of the time I was so busy, I wasn't really looking at what's missing, what's not missing, and so on. Okay. But then I started seeing I started sensing that things had started going missing in my room. And keep in mind, like I mentioned to you guys, it's just me. I'm the only one that's staying in that house with the house helps. And they have like their own area that they sleep. So I'm staying in this big house by myself, sleeping there by myself while they are downstairs. And downstairs of the house is where goods were kept, like really expensive goods that were owned by other people that they had kept in the house. These were goods where they were supposed to be used for business, to be sold off, and so on. So and also that is where also building equipment was kept, and all of that. So that area had basically goods that were worth thousands, I'm trying to say. And we would just give him the key to go down there when we needed something. Oh, here's the key, just go. And we'll always tell him to count what's there, to just tell us what's there, what's missing, what's not missing. And he will always come back and say, well, we've got this, we've got that. And this is when things I kind of felt like started going a bit wrong. So he would always tell us that he needs to go to his village. So with most house helpers is that most of them do tend to live in the village. So you have to give them holiday period for them to be able to go back home and visit their family. So when he was going to visit, keep in mind, again, it's just me, my family are not in the house anymore. It's me that's taking care of the whole house, and all I have is house helps. And he said he was leaving to go to his village. And I remember that day I was really, really busy. I had a lot going. I had a few meetings I had to get to. But all I remember vividly is he had bags and bags of things that he was taking with him. And I was thinking to myself, and I asked him, I goes, what is inside those bags? Why do you have so many things? And he said, I've been buying lots of things for my wife and for my children and so on. So, that those are the things I'm carrying. And again, not a second did I think anything was wrong. I just, okay, cool, fine. I gave him some money so he can go. I gave him some money for his wife, his children to take, and he also told me that he needed some money for school fee for his children. I also gave him that on top of his wages as well. So he left. So when he left, now there's one thing. I went out, I came back, and I noticed that one of my wigs were missing. So I brought quite a few wigs with me when I was coming to Sierra Leone. Even though I never wore them, I brought them with me. And I noticed one of my wigs, and this was the wig that was the most expensive one. For ladies who are watching this, Brazilian wigs, Cambodian hair, all these stuff, they're very expensive. And I noticed it was missing. I immediately just called my sister. I was like, my wig is gone. Because she was in the UK then. I was like, did you take one of my wigs with you when you were going? And she was like, no. And I called my mom. I said, Mom, did you take any one of my wigs when you were going? And she said, no, as well. I was thinking, Then my mom was like, oh, maybe you left it somewhere. Go and look around the house. I looked all over the house. I couldn't find it. Okay. At this point, again, I'm not assuming he did anything. And then I started noticing now things were going missing in the house, like food supplies were not there. This was when he left. I'm trying to say, I noticed like there were food things that were not in the house anymore. I noticed like some of my shoes were not there. Some of my clothes, like really expensive dresses, were not there. And I was thinking to myself, where's all of these stuff gone? Again, went back to calling my mom and my sister. I was like, hey, this is missing. Did you take these things with you when you were going? They were like, no. And I was like, and in the back of my head, I was just thinking, maybe I've kept it in the guest room. Maybe I just assumed it's around the house. I didn't for once think, guys, that my stuff had been stolen. I didn't. It just didn't cross my mind, because he is the only person that I trusted enough to come around the house. And I trusted him enough so much, I never thought he would steal anything. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So anyway, one day I decided to go. I think I went away. I think I went to like one of those resorts. I went away to one of those resorts. And I came back. And when I came back, again, I noticed so many stuff had gone missing. And I thought to myself, what's going on? And I called him. This time I literally called him and I said, listen, Lucifer, there's a few things that are missing. And also I noticed like the chair has dirt mark on it, as if somebody has been sitting in the chair. Keep in mind, I did not give this guy a key to the actual house. He has a key to his area downstairs where he lives. But in terms of our household, he does not have a key. You know what I'm trying to say? Nobody has a key to the living room, the bedrooms, or anything but me. And I had clothes everywhere. But I noticed there were like marks on the chair of somebody who had been sitting in the chair, marks on the floor. There was like dirt on the floor. And I was thinking, I didn't leave the place like this, because me and him cleaned when I left. And he was like, oh no, nobody has the key to the house. So how is that possible? And again, called my mom again. I was like, Mom, something weird is happening. Like, I am sure somebody came inside the house. There's footstep marks. There's marks in the chairs. Some of my stuff are missing. Like, something is going on. This time I'm getting worried. I'm getting really, really scared at this point, because I'm thinking, is there a ghost or something in the house? Is this house haunted? And I'm getting really scared, because again, like I said, I stay there by myself in this big house. And I call my mom, and she's just like, maybe you forgot. Maybe you didn't clean. Maybe you thought that. And I'm like, yes, I cleaned. He even confirmed that we cleaned. Even he said the marks, he said to me the marks are already there. But for me, I was like, no, they weren't, because we cleaned. You know what I'm trying to say? Anyway, so now I started getting a bit suspicious. But it was hard for me to think that somebody was coming into the house, because Nobody has a key. I am the only one that has a key to the house. Nobody else has a key. So in the back of my head, I'm thinking, there is no way somebody's stealing because nobody has a key. And there's no way somebody can be coming behind my back and coming into the house and I'm not aware of it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I think I was now getting ready to go to Gambia. And he was helping me pack to go to Gambia. And we packed, I had all of my stuff spread out in the living room. He was helping us pack everything and so on. And I kind of just, I think I just left everything in the living room as it was, really. And we packed. And I just told him, just pack everything in the suitcase, put everything in the suitcase. I was folding, he was packing. I gave him a whole bunch of stuff because he told me he wanted some stuff for his wife to take to her. So I gave lots of my dresses, lots of my shoes, like I think like it was like at least 6 bin bags, of clothes. I gave him a lot. And I didn't even tell my mom that I gave this guy this much. I gave him a lot of stuff. Because every single time I was looking through my stuff, he'd be like, I want this. I'm like, take it, anything, take it. Because for me, it was like, I just really trusted this guy. I just really, anything he wants, I wanted to give it to him. If he wanted money, I'll give it to him. And everything, like we really saw him as a part of our family. We didn't even treat him as if he was like a house help or anything. To us, he was family. And also he was a bit older. So even my sister called him uncle because he was a bit older than us. So he helped me pack. And when I went to Gambia, I noticed that some of the stuff in my suitcase were not there. And it really upset me because I thought to myself, like, I gave you so much. Like, I gave you, at this point, I knew it was him because I thought to myself, there is no way anybody else could have taken something from my suitcase except from you. Like, you are the only, because it was only me and him that were in the house and that were packing. And at this point I was sure it was him. It was him that took stuff from the suitcase. I called him and I was just like, some stuff is missing from the suitcase. What's going on? And he was like, oh, you gave me those things. And I said, no, I didn't give you those things. I didn't give you those things. You know what I mean? I didn't give them to you. He was like, yeah, you did. You didn't. You might have forgotten. And I said, no. Because we all know there's certain things you give to people and there are certain things that you just wouldn't give to people. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So the things that he was saying that I gave to him, I was just very much adamant, like, I didn't give them to you. And he was like, then he must have said, oh, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I thought you had given it to me and I just took it. And then this is where things go crazy. So a family member of mine, I think it was like 3 days after I had gone to Gambia, my mom went back to Sierra Leone like 3 days after me. And when she got to the property, she opened the door. So she opened the door to the living room, and everything in the house was gone. Like, everything in the house was like our house was emptied out. At this point, my mom is losing it. My mom's calling me. She's like, where's all the stuff in the house? Where's everything? Where's this? Where are the things in the house? And I'm just like, everything is there. Like, I even sent her, because when I was leaving, she told me to clean the house, take a picture, and take a picture of everything as I left it. So I sent her a Snapchat and I said, have a look. She looked and she saw that everything, she saw the picture and she goes, and she goes, well, this picture is showing this, but there's nothing here. So she literally video calls me and the house is completely empty. And I said, Mom, there's no way that's possible because I've got the key. I've got the key with me. you know, and I didn't give the key to nobody. And I told her, goes, go downstairs and go and check. Remember, I told you guys there's an area where we keep all of our valuable goods. So these are goods that belong to us. These are goods that belong to other people. And also we have equipments that we use for like building work and so on. And I said, Mom, just go down there and have a look. She went down there and he wiped the whole thing. There was nothing there. Like that area had absolutely nothing there. He had stolen cement, he had stolen iron rod, he had stolen goods, he had stolen like things that are worth thousands of pounds. He had cleared out the whole thing, right? And you're probably thinking, how do you know it was him? Because as my mom straight away called the police, and then people came and they were like, you know, we saw him taking things from the house to his village, but he said that he was taking things that you guys had given him. And then also, then we had some people come and say he had sold them things like he had sold them things like sand, iron rod, like basically tires, had been selling goods to them. But he told them that we told him to sell those things because we had left. So they bought those things off him. So while I was away in Gambia, he was selling those goods. He was selling it to people. And he sold everything that was in that area. And all the things that were in the house, he took some of them with him to his village, and he sold the majority of everything. And my mom then obviously calls us and she's like, you will not believe what I'm about to tell you guys. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. What's going on? What's going on? And she's like, Lucifer has cleared out the house. And I was just like, no, that's not possible. I don't think he will do something like that. I was like, you know, I suspect him that he might have stolen, but I don't think he'll go that far. Plus, he doesn't have the key to the house or anything else. So he had run away somewhere. My mom did a whole search warrant and they found him. And they took him to the police. And obviously, he confessed to everything. He confessed to stealing my wig, which really annoyed me. Stealing all the stuff in the house. In the beginning of the story that I told you guys, I felt like he had stolen. And also confessed to clearing out the house. So he went away with thousands of pounds of things. And you're all probably thinking to yourself, how did he get access to the house without breaking anything? So he said that he copied the keys. So he copied the keys to my room, my mom's room, and also the storage area that we had that had all the goods. So he had basically copied all the keys. And we had no idea. So that time where I felt like somebody came into the house, somebody has sat on the sofa and there were marks, it was him. He had used his spare key that he had made to come into the house while I was away. And he even said that he would like sleep in my room or sleep in my mom's room. He would invite people into the house without us knowing. He would eat the food. So that's why when I would come back, so many food stuff were missing. And I'll also find some of my clothes weren't there because he was allowing people into the house. And I believe he was probably allowing girls to wear my clothes, and some of them probably took the clothes with them. And you're probably thinking to yourself, how come nobody saw this going on? But we found that a lot of our neighbors were aware of this, and they were also playing a part in this. You know what I mean? They were also playing a part in this in a sense. And they knew what was going on, and they were also making money out of the goods that he was stealing. So anyone that wanted to go out and speak about the situation, or anybody who wanted to come and tell us, you know, they will blackmail him. They will say, well, if you give us this, we won't tell them that you're stealing these things. And currently he's still in jail as we speak. We're never going to get those goods back. I think we're aware of that. We're never going to get anything back. You know what I mean? We're never going to get anything back. And it's been a difficult one to deal with. I think, you know, someone can steal little tiny things, but for someone to actually empty out your house of valuables and things where you've been keeping them for later on for maybe your family, you know, like there were certain things where I kept in that household which I was hoping to pass on to my kids and so on, and this guy had stolen the whole thing. And it was just so sad to the point where I was even too embarrassed to tell anybody. I was too embarrassed to tell friends. I was too embarrassed to even come on here and even tell anybody on YouTube about what's been going on, because what you don't want to do is create fear and make people feel like Africa's like this. If you go there, this is what's going to happen and all these different things. But it's been really tough for us because we lost. It's not even about the money. It's about things that you can't replace. Do you know what I mean? Goods which we held very close to ourselves, things that, you know, that we just can't replace. And currently we've been asking him, we've been trying to buy back things of people, mostly valuables that are very important to our family, that are very sentimental, sorry. So things that are very sentimental, we've been trying to buy back of people. So we've been asking him things like, who did you sell this to? Who did you sell that to? So we can try and get those things back. But unfortunately, he can't even remember the people he sold these things to. And some of these people, they're not going to come forward and say, you know, well, this is the stuff that we bought off him, because half of them, they knew these were stolen goods, you know what I'm trying to say. And yeah, he went away, he got away with it. He's still in prison right now. We're trying to get as much of our stuff back. We hasn't been any luck at all, because he's not honest. He's not telling us about who he sold things to. And we are aware that he took some stuff to his village. So we've been trying to speak to his wife, but she's lying as well. She's saying things like he's never brought anything back to the village. I never even knew he was stealing anything. Oh my gosh, this is so shameful. Like, just lying and pretending when we all know, you know, your husband has been stealing and you know he's been bringing things back to your house, but she just won't do it. So at some points we're thinking about even going to the village or where he stays and basically going to the house to see what we can find there. But then again, it's quite a dangerous thing to do, because you don't know what you know what type of trap they've put there for you. So we'll kind of just let that go. And also, he's got little small children. You don't want to end up traumatizing them coming to the house and looking around all these different kind of. So we'll kind of just let that idea go. But yeah, so that is a recent thing. It is something that we're still dealing with. And for anyone who has experienced something like this, I'm sure you will all say it's something where it affects you for a long time. It makes it very hard for you to trust people, because like I said, this is somebody where I trusted him so much. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I would go out and every time I go out to eat, I'll always bring food back for him. I'll even take him out with me. I'm like, come, let's go. Like, I never in a million years, because he wasn't lacking. Do you know what I mean? Because if we were treating him bad or we weren't giving him what he needed, I understand. But anything he wanted, we gave it to him. We would pay him, then he'll come back and say, okay, I need school fees, I need this, I want to buy shoes, I want to buy this. Okay, cool, here's the money, go and do it. That is how we were like with him. And my mom even asked him, you know, when she went to the police, she asked him quite honestly, she was like, what did we do wrong? Like, what didn't we give you? What, you know, what was it? What made you want to do that to us when we've never done anything to you? And he just simply said that, you know, he didn't say anything. He didn't even say anything to my mom. He was just quiet. He didn't say a word to her. He would just look. My mom said he had his head down. He wouldn't say anything. And it's really hard, because it's like, at least give us a reason to why you did that. you know what I mean? If he had said something like we maltreated him, we did something wrong to him, then I'd be like, okay, I get why you did that to us, kind of to get us back. But there was nothing that guy did not want that we did not give to him. That there was nothing. If he wanted the shoes I was wearing, I would have given it to him. And I did. I gave him so much stuff to give to his wife because obviously I'm a woman. He's a man. He can't wear my things. But yeah, that is the experience that happened in terms of having my house emptied out. And like I said, we're still dealing with it. It's still a police case. We have not gotten anything back. My house is still empty. We are slowly trying to recover and put things together, really. So I'm just going to go to the comment section just to see what people have been saying. Then I'm going to speak on some advice. Mr. S says the national wage needs raising up. Thanks, Marima, for your answer. And I agree with you. And Horace, 200 is reasonable. Exactly. I do agree. In Salon in general, the national wage really needs to go up, because how can you live off £50 a month? Like, that is really, really small. And I do believe it's something where the government and everybody else is trying to see how they can improve that. And I really do hope that this year and the coming years to come, that does improve. However, how you can improve that is when you go to Africa and you find out what the minimum wage is. If you think that is a small amount of money, always give them more and never pay somebody the minimum wage, because let's be honest, you come from the West and you know that money is small. So the way that we can all improve things is to make sure that we don't play a part in exploiting people. We go ahead and pay people more. And even though I know my story right now may make some of you feel like, well, what's the point? The point is that it's not about what people do to you. It's not about how people treat you. You continue doing good. The universe, God will give you back in multiple strands. Like all the things that we've lost, in no shape or form has that made me feel like I'm never going to have a house help again, because you can't allow one spoiled apple to ruin it for the rest of the apples that are in the bowl. You know what I mean? I'm still very hopeful, and I'm going to talk about some of my good experiences as well. So the way you can play a part, like I said, is make sure you pay people more than the minimum wage, because if more diasporans come and they continue to pay more, then it will force more people to do so, and it will then increase the minimum wage. Jennifer says, professional pretender and expert thief, they think they're entitled to your goods. Yes, I definitely have to agree with that. I think from both experiences I've had is that maybe the more comfortable you get with them, the more familiar sometimes you get with house helps, is the more entitled they feel. And I think in this case, like, we've had conversations as a family about what happened, what we did wrong and what we could improve on. And one of the things we did say was that we made him too comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, we almost saw the red flags, but because we saw good in him so much, we kind of just pretended like we didn't see. We just brushed it off like it wasn't there. But the red flags were there. We were seeing the red flags, but we were just so but we were just seeing things from our eyes and our perspective rather than facing the reality. And I think that's one of the mistakes we definitely made. And moving forward, we're definitely, fingers crossed, we're not going to do that again. But I think we made him so comfortable that he felt like he could steal from us and get away with it. And he felt like he could take from us and get away with it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? David Macrae says, hey, Salon, it is sad that it is difficult to find people who are honest. 100%. And it's not just Sierra Leone, I think it's all over the world. Dishonest people live everywhere. But speaking particularly about Sierra Leone, it is very hard to find people you can trust. I think the culture there, from what I've seen in terms of the locals, is they're very hungry for money. They're very hungry for success, and they're willing to do anything for it, even if you're trying to help them. Some of them want quick, fast money, and because they want quick, fast money, they don't see that you're helping them in their situation for long term. They're trying to look for short term satisfaction, as sociologists would say, immediate gratification. Do you know what I mean? For them, it's just about, like for example, Lucifer, we were helping him with school fees. We were, he said he wanted to do a couple of businesses, so we were helping him with that. We were helping him to build his house that he was building in his village, for example. So we were helping him for things where in the long term his situation would change. And we always told him, we don't want you to be working for us. We want, in the next year or two, we want you to be able to stand by yourself. We want you to be able to have your own business. We want you to have finished building your house. We want you to be able to sustain yourself. And we always told him this. And I remember one of the first questions I asked him when I met him was, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and how can we help you to get there? And but I think for him, and for many, some Sierra Leoneans, locals that live there, is they don't see the benefit of long-term process to get to success. They just want it immediately. They want to see the money now and so on. And I think in his situation is, he probably thought the way we were going to help him to get there wasn't fast enough, and he just wanted it now. And the way that he's done it is wrong, because anyone that steals from you in this world, anyone that takes your goodness or your and turns it around and does evil with you, karma will meet him. And I know his karma is going to meet him somewhere. And I know he's going to reflect back in his life and realize that he had it really good. And it was so crazy, because all the people that knew about how we treat our house helps, they were like, oh my God, this is not normal. This is not how normally they get treated. Like, you guys are really treating them as if they're a family. And I think that's the mistake we did. We did make him very comfortable. Okay. Freetown woman said that the sad thing about our people is that they are on your kindness. Yes, it's true. Is they really do take advantage of your kindness sometimes, and they really do prey on your kindness. If they see you're somebody where you generally want to help, you generally want to improve their lives, not all of them, some of them will hold on to that, and they will prey on you, and they will find ways that they can steal and take from you. However, not everybody is like that, and I will speak on that. Horace Smart says, so sad our family was always let down by the people who trusted, including family members. When they contact me on Facebook, I block them. I'm currently having to block my driver when we was in Freetown. I am so sorry to hear that, because that is a recent experience, because I know you went to Freetown in December. I'm so sorry to hear that. And it's this thing, it's a constant, I'm constantly having to hear from people say they've had bad experiences. But I do have to say, I am also hearing of people having good experiences as well. So it's not all bad. So we will get to the good soon in a minute. But I definitely sympathize with you. It's so hard to find people that you can trust. Horace Smart said, I sent him money once, and now it is hello sir on my phone every day. Yes. So one of the things that tends to happen with the locals is, most people identify to this, is that if you stop giving money, sometimes they will then stop taking care of themselves and start depending on you, and depend on you to send them money all the time. You know what I mean? And sometimes a culture I've seen with some people, and I really want to exaggerate some, is that they're not looking at how they can help themselves. They're looking at how somebody else can change their lives. And sometimes they look at us diasporans as we have the answer, and we should give them our money just like that, and they should just live off it. And anyway, I'll keep that for another story time, when I talk about advantage and all these things being done. We'll talk about it in a different time. But definitely there is a culture of, when you start giving money, they become relaxed and they start depending on you. All right. Ian says, I got to say it, but I've never had a bad experience in the 12 years I've been going to salon. Ian, you are not the first and you are not the only one that hasn't had a bad experience. And I'm so happy that you highlighted that, because it's not always a bad experience. Like I said, I just happen to have had that experience, and like I said, I had that experience twice. Other times that I was in Sierra Leone, I did not have this experience, and I am going to speak about that. And there are some people out there who've never had this. They've never had anyone steal from them. They've never had anyone taking anything for them, and this is a norm. However, there are people out there that do have this experience, who do have people who are stealing from them, and like I told you guys, I've had that experience. All right. And then Horace Smart said, explaining to them how hard we work to earn our money is a waste of time, no concept at all. My brother warned me not to be familiar with the drive, and I am now paying for it. They really get familiar. Yes, definitely. There's all types of experiences you can have. But I really just want to remind everybody all that this experience is not just an African experience. It's not just a Sierra Leone experience. This is a worldwide experience. I'm trying to say, anywhere you go in the world, you may potentially be duped. You may potentially have your goods stolen. You may potentially have the people that work for you do bad things to you. It's not just something that it's just an African experience. It can happen anywhere in the world that you go. And just to add on to that as well, I am pro domestic house help. I really do believe that I really do believe that it's a great way to provide opportunities and a way for locals to make money, mostly for those who are not educated, mostly for those who haven't had opportunity to go to school. But also there's lots of people who are domestic workers who this is the career that they generally love, and this is what they really want to do. And there's workers out there who give their heart to their job, who 100% are honest. They do not steal. They do their job, and they do it how it should be done, and they exist and they are out there. And one of the people I would say is the girl that lived with us, the girl who I said I kind of suspected her to be a thief. Now, she was brilliant. You know what I mean? Even though she'll bring her child in the house when she wasn't supposed to bring the child to the house, she definitely proved me to be wrong, because till this day she's still working at the house. She's still helping out where she can, and she has never stolen anything from our house. We've never had an issue with her. She's always honest. If you give her money, she brings back exactly what you're supposed to bring. And she never asks, she has pride sometimes, which is if she needs help, she'll not ask for it. If you've given her money, that's all she wants from me. Sometimes I'll even have to be like, do you need anything for your child? And sometimes I'll just go out of my way and just buy goods for her kids. Like I buy like milk and diapers and all these different things and give it to her, because she never would ask. And she is a perfect example of a domestic house help who did her job and served, because any job that you do, you're serving your skills, you're serving you're serving. And she really served well, just like how when I'm working in a corporate world, I'm serving my service, you know what I mean? And she's a perfect example of a great worker and somebody who really, really did her job with 100%, and she's never ever given us a reason to question her. So definitely I give applaud to her. And I even remember saying to my mom, like, oh, she was the one I thought would do that, and look how she proved us wrong. Do you know what I mean? She wasn't even aware of all of this that was going on. So definitely there are good experiences that are out there. But I also want to flip it and talk about as well, which is one of the major issues that's been going on and is still going on, is the maltreatment of house helps. Now, we all don't live under a rock. We all have access to the internet. And I'm sure you all have seen multiple news documentaries, discussions about the mishandle of house helps and people abusing them, sexually abusing them, people harming them and so on. And I just really want to speak on that really just slightly, because you know, I have seen cases of people maltreating house helps, domestic workers, and so on. People not treating them as if they are humans, not treating them as if they are part of society, but really just treating them as if, you know, they're nothing. And I've had to call out a lot of people that I was around in Sierra Leone, people that were outside of my what do you call it, where I lived, for example, because they were just they had no patience, they were rude, sometimes they were even physically abusive to these workers. And and I have to speak on that because these, you know, most people in Africa, mostly locals who are not educated, end up being domestic workers, and they end up, a lot of Africans end up going to countries like Lebanon, Arab countries, even Western countries to work. And some of them really have horrible experiences where they get maltreated to the point where I've even seen a story about how one of them got chemically burnt. And also there was a case in Lebanon, obviously, as you all may know, where lots of Sierra Leoneans got trapped in Lebanon and they couldn't leave, and they were all being maltreated, they were all being abused, all this different kind of stuff. And I was following that story for a long time. And the reason I'm saying this is because some of you are going to go to Africa if you haven't been there before, or you've been to Africa, is regardless of you going out of your way and placing barriers to make sure that nothing bad happens to you, please make sure that you practice to treat every single domestic worker with respect as you would any other worker. It is in no shape or form okay to hit anybody, to abuse anybody, call anybody out of their name because they're doing a job and you're paying them for their service. And if something goes wrong, you dismiss them. Say, okay, this is something's gone wrong. You need to leave this job. But in no shape or form do you go out of your way to harm them. And if you are watching this and you have done this and you feel like you've done this before, I just want to say, please stop. Don't ever do that because it's wrong. And if you're watching this and you are a domestic worker and you've been in that situation, or you're stuck somewhere and you don't know how to get out, definitely reach out to me. Definitely report it and definitely leave if you can. You know, leave when you can. You leave. You're not just leave. Yeah. I just want to speak on that because I think it's just so important. And above all, with all the experiences I have, does this mean I'm no longer going to hire domestic house help? No. I'm going to hire. I'm going to continue hiring domestic house helps. Why? Because it provides opportunity. And I truly believe the way that my family and close friends, we the way we work with our domestic workers is a bit more different. For us, when we hire you and we try to help you to make sure that you don't end up working as a domestic worker if that is not what you want. If that is what you truly want to do, they will ask you, which other way can we help you? Is it to help you with your kids? Is it to help with a business, wherever it may be? But this has not in any shape or form made me feel like I'm never going to do. I'm still going to continue employing domestic workers. However, moving forward, I'm just going to be extra cautious. I'm just going to make sure that I do my research, and also moving forward, I think I'm going to work with companies, organizations that, or may I say, agencies where you can hire domestic house help from, because I do know they are available in Sierra Leone. I think doing it that way, I think doing it that way would really just make us feel a bit more safer, because if anything goes wrong, then we can just go to the agency and speak to them. And also, from what I've seen, they are more vetted. Like, you know, they've done the background research on them. They've you know, everything is just a bit more professional, a bit more safe. So I think moving forward for us, we're possibly going to go with agencies. Okay. So if you have any questions for me as this live is going on, please do go in the comment section. and ask me any questions before I go to the next section. All right. So Ian says, for sure your experience was bad. No denying that. I'm sorry it happened. Thank you so much, Ian. And also thank you so much for speaking that you had a good experience. Sorry, because I think it's really important on this live, because I know many people are going to watch it again, is that you do not think that this is going to be your experience. It was just a personal experience that I had. Ian has proven to us he stayed in Sierra Leone for 12 years and he did not have a bad experience. So again, I'll keep on repeating, this is not an overall experience you're going to have. You may just be like Ian, you never have a bad experience. However, always be cautious. Ian then says, I find a lot of overseas visitors, JCs, have no respect for the people who live there. Ian, I agree with you. Like I mentioned, I have seen so many cases of it. Really sad cases I've seen of JCs maltreating the domestic house helps. And for me, it's like, we as Black people that live in the West, we always speak about racism. We always speak about how we want to be treated good. Then you go to Africa and maltreat your own people? Come on. It doesn't make any sense. And it's so sad. And it's really sad. Ian said, well done, well said, thank you. Jennifer says, you must always strive to treat others as you'd like to be treated. Remember, it takes less energy to be kind than to go out of your way and maltreat somebody. 100% agree. It actually takes so much effort to do bad. It even takes a lot of effort for you to make your face sad. For you to smile, it's so easy. You know what I mean? And also, like I've repeated, like what I've said, if you hire house help, it's not working, just get rid of them. Don't harm them, don't hurt them, and so on. And again, just going back to tips I will give you when you are hiring a house help based on the experience I had when I had my house emptied out is, number one, be cautious. Don't always trust. And just because someone seems sincere, just because someone seems like they are 100% not going to do something wrong with you, still practice caution. Still have locks in your rooms. Still don't leave your goods out in the public areas like the living rooms where it can be seen. Still don't leave money out where it can be seen. Still don't allow somebody into your room unless you are in the room too. You definitely have to do those things because it's just extra caution. And also it prevents you having to go out of your way and accuse anybody of anything. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So definitely those are the things I would say. I'm just going to give about 10 more minutes before I end this live. So if you guys have any questions for me regarding this, maybe you are going to be going to Africa or anything like that, and you like some advice or anything regarding hiring house helps, then please go in the comment section and place it there. David McCrae said, me personally, I don't need house help. I can take care of myself. Yes, David McCrae, I 100% agree. You don't have to have a house help if you don't need a house help. It all depends on you and what you're willing to do. Personally, for me, we needed a house help because of the way our situation is. But you don't have to have a house help in Africa. If you can just have a guard, and you can do everything else yourself. You know what I mean? It's definitely optional as well. I'll say that. I'm getting a bit thirsty, guys. So yeah, definitely that is what I would say regarding house helps. On a positive note, I do want to end this in a positive note and give some really great things or the benefits of having a house help. So some of the benefits of having a house help in a house is, if you live alone, you have an extra person that's in the house that you can talk to, that can kind of show you around Sierra Leone, tell you where to go, where not to go. It's also somebody who, if you are new to Africa, you've never visited Africa, they can cook you traditional dishes. They can teach you how to make traditional dishes. One of the things I really liked about my house help is, I know how to cook Sierra Leone food, but there was always a way she cooked it that was different to how I did it. And for me, it was really nice just to see how it was done traditionally. And some of those things I've taken it back with me. So even when I make like my cassava leaf, my jollof rice, I kind of incorporate some of the things I've learned as well. What's really good about having a house help is that they're an extra help. They're an extra help when you need it. So they will, clean the house, take care of the house, make sure everything is done. And also, as well, one of the things I really like about having domestic house helps is that they teach you so much about the country, the culture. And when you hear their stories, it's almost as if you're having a completely different experience. One of the things I really enjoys having conversations with my house helps in the morning when we're all having breakfast together. I'll always tell them, tell me a story about this, tell me a story about this time and that time, and they will impart so much knowledge in you, and they would tell you things that you've never have read before, never have seen on TV before, and just hearing their perspective, their life, their livelihood, it inspires you and it can drive you to do more, and also drive you to do more to help them and to also help your country as well. I really enjoyed that. There's so many things about Sierra Leone that I learned from my house helps, and they really humbled me. They really made me feel proud to be Sierra Leonean, because when they speak about their country, they speak of their country with so much pride. They speak about their country, and sometimes you see some of them, they barely have money, they barely have anything, but yet they're one of the most happiest people. Like, that my house have the girl that cleans the house. Every time she'll be cleaning, she'll be singing, and I always tell her, teach me these songs, and she taught me some of like the Mende songs and stuff like that. And she was even teaching me the language. So there's so many benefits of having a house help. It's not just about them cleaning your house, but they can be a useful tool in teaching you about your culture, about, teaching you about the language, about the culture and the way things are done. And for me, that's what I really enjoy about having house helps. And even just having people just live with us that we may not even know. Like, we've had people stay with us who they didn't have a place to stay, and we had extra rooms, so we said, you know what, take that room and stay there. And they just taught us so much. And for me, those are the benefits that I really enjoy about having house helps, because it's not just about them helping around, it's about what they can impart in you. And if you have young children, they can teach your children how to speak the language, they can teach them about cultural things and so on. So for me, those are the benefits I would say about having a house help. And also, you have the opportunity to change somebody's life. And I would say to anybody who's watching this, if you have a house help, don't just look at them as something that's helping the house. Maybe look at how you can help them. Ask them about where they want to be. If you have the ability to help them, you could potentially change their lives and transfer their life from being a house help to doing something else, maybe following their dreams and doing the things that they truly want to do. You know what I'm trying to say? All right. Freetown Woman says, sorry to hear that happened to you. Next time, proceed with caution. Yes, 100%. So I'm about to end the live now, because I feel like I've explained everything, and I've also given the negative experience I've had having a house up. I've also given you guys some tips on what you can do to make sure you don't make the mistakes that I've made and my family has made. I've also talked about the benefits of having a house help and how it can be beneficial to your family and everybody else. And I really do hope that what you take away from this is not about the bad experience I've had, but really take with you how, you know, uh, really take with you how having a house help can actually transform your life, and what you can gain from having a house help in your house, and really take away how you can practice caution and how you can make sure that you don't make the same mistakes as me. Please don't leave this life scared of house helps, or feeling like you have to maltreat anybody you know. Like I said, please treat your house helps with love. Please be considerate of their emotions. And if things are not working, do not harm them. Simply just tell them it's time for them to go and move on. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. And for those of you who are here, since you're here, I'm going to tell you guys about what's coming up in my channel. So you guys are getting the exclusive since you're here. As you guys know, I'm currently in Sierra Leone. But moving forward, I have got myself a cameraman who's in Sierra Leone, who is going to be creating content for me in Sierra Leone for you guys to watch. Yes. So in the meantime, while I'm sorting myself out to go back to Sierra Leone, I'm in the place right now where I'm looking for an expat job, and it's not as easy as I thought it would be. But definitely, God willing, I'm able to land one soon and I can go back to Sierra Leone. However, I have got myself a little tiny camera crew, little camera crew, in Sierra Leone, who will be creating exclusive content just for us. Okay, so the first content in Sierra Leone that's going to be coming out is tomorrow. I told my videographer to go around Sierra Leone and ask people about what they thought about Valentine's Day, tell us about how they're going to be spending Valentine's Day. And guys, I'm telling you, it is the most funniest video ever. Like, we have all these people just telling us like what they think about, what the West think about Valentine's Day and so on. So that's going to be the first footage that I'm going to be releasing, and that's tomorrow. However, send me a DM or even write in this comment section what type of content you want us to film in Sierra Leone, and we will have that ready for you. So every single week I will be having content exclusively from Sierra Leone. So guys who are here, that you are going to be seeing that moving forward. So again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and this video will be available live, will be available for you guys to rewatch again. And if you're watching this and you are new to my channel, please go and hit on the subscribe button and help me to grow my channel. Like this video once it's been uploaded on YouTube, and also comment on it as well. Each time you comment on a video that I upload, it helps for it to increase, and YouTube shows it to more people. And also when you like it as well, YouTube shows it to more people. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. And tomorrow I'll be posting my first video in Sierra Leone, and it will be a Valentine's video. So look out for that as well. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.